When the first escalator was installed in a department store at the turn of the last century, a number of passengers actually fainted on their first ride. And while we become a little more accustomed to new technology today, it can always still amaze us.
Today, more than ever before, we rely on technology. But as everyone who works with technology knows, problems can and do occur. Often they're major annoyances, and in some cases they're enough to bring an entire organization to a standstill. Just imagine a situation where one critical part of your car, like the steering wheel, couldn't communicate with another part, like the wheels. For consumers, the problem is resolved before the vehicle reaches the showroom floor, since it's the responsibility of the car manufacturer to deliver a fully integrated product. The production line's goal is often to develop the highest quality car by using best-of-breed components from different vendors, and then make all of the various parts work together in an optimal fashion. The same is true for many large information systems. The consumer who uses the bank ATM does not need to know how the system was put together. No one vendor can produce a competitive best-of-breed information system. In order to get the best system, most organizations rely on different products from a wide range of vendors. The only way to derive benefits from these products is to make sure that all of them interoperate. For many years now, organizations have literally hoarded their data, building complex repositories for every type of information. This makes access to the information difficult, often restricting it to a select few. With a wall of paperwork and incompatible systems separating it from people that need it most. And for anyone who tried to integrate this data from another location, there was no alternative but to manually translate and rekey it in printouts. All that did was move it from one incompatible system to another. But to access this stored information, modern systems have to be able to interoperate with other systems.
An everyday example of an interoperability problem would be two people in conversation, one person speaking English, the other speaking French, and neither of them being able to translate. They can exchange the information, but the information is of no use to them.
While interoperability problem might just be a minor incompatibility, its impact on a system can be dramatic. And getting all relevant parties together to participate in solving the interoperability problem can be a nightmare. In any given company, there are usually numerous systems that all talk different languages. At the same time, companies are spending huge amounts of money buying and testing new systems so that they can get them to interoperate with their existing infrastructure. It all combines to create a critical need for information technology products that are guaranteed to interoperate. This can only be achieved if those products are built to something known as open standards.
Open standards are important to JP Chase because we as a financial services firm are a buyer of technology. We need to incorporate that technology into our infrastructure. We can do that much more faster, quicker, easier if we buy technologies that are based on open standards.
In 1982, Time magazine named the computer Man of the Year. And though it might have seemed a bit odd 18 years ago, today it seems to make perfect sense. After all, computers and computer technology have done more to change the world than almost any person ever alive.
Interoperability is the ability to both exchange information and then use it. Without a way to exchange information, high-tech systems literally can't communicate with each other. Information systems often speak different languages or dialects. This happens not only when the products come from different suppliers, but even among different generations or variants of the same item. Well, the fact is, companies face a serious risk and cost penalty whenever they integrate a new system. Today, many companies are more dependent on outside suppliers than ever before, and are, in many cases, linked to their systems. But getting the whole system to run smoothly requires a tremendous amount of communication and coordination, and that can be next to impossible without open standards and interoperability. There are only two ways, really, to ensure interoperability. The first is to produce your own custom software, tailored to your specific needs and systems. This software acts as an interpreter between different systems and different languages. Unfortunately, such a solution is rather expensive, time-consuming, and frequently full of errors. The only alternative to this costly process is to insist on using products that are certified to conform to open standards. Open standards let different systems communicate and share information with each other, even if most of their time is spent processing data in their own specific manner. Consider two people speaking in two different languages. Imagine what would happen if they both had a third language in common. By using it, they could exchange information, even though neither one spoke the other's primary language. That's essentially how open standards work. Suppliers whose products do conform to open standards can expect to see increased demand for their product in the marketplace, and that translates in having more sales, customers, and profits. At the other end, a buyer expects to reduce the high cost of integrating new products into their existing system. That's beneficial to both their competitive ability as well as their bottom line.
The open standards are important to the bottom line because they allow companies to build products on a broad economy of scale. When everybody around the world is participating in the same standard, you have a much broader market, and then as a result, you can build to that broader market. You also have the capability to build in proprietary extensions to that open standard, which allow you to differentiate your own individual product, but the core still remains compliant and can be tested and certified against that open standard.
With the help of the Open Group, it's now possible for vendors and buyers to get together in an environment that leads to collaboration and problem solving. In the end, the real goal is to find out how to guarantee that a given product does indeed conform to open standards and therefore interoperate. Once that's done, everything else begins to fall into place for buyers and for vendors.
According to a recent survey, 93% of commonly used words in the English language have already been registered as .com domain names. And for good reason. The Internet continues to amaze even the most conservative tech watchers, and there appears to be no end in sight to its current level of innovation.
For all organizations, competitive advantage, productivity, and efficiency are keys to long-term growth and profitability. And for the last decade, technology has played a critical role. But the heightened rate of innovation in IT systems has led to certain challenges. For each new product, a new method has to be found to add it to existing systems. That burden has traditionally fallen on the person who buys the technology. But as we saw earlier, new products have to interoperate with existing systems. In fact, in some cases, the product or service comes about because of it. Today, a plethora of information is passing through an entire range of different systems and networks, and increasingly into the hands of the new generation of wireless information devices like web phones and PDAs. Recently, the Open Group's members decided to tackle emerging problems in this particular field by creating the Mobile Management Forum. The first step was to initiate a study of real-world problems, using a technique known as business scenarios that identified the areas where improvement was needed. Next, they prioritized the problems and formed groups to focus on the most important issues. Over the course of the study, leading vendors were interviewed along with buyers who were already encountering that particular problem.
For example, if we were looking at the problem of integrating a new scanning device into a cash register in a supermarket, we could use the business scenario to describe all the technology parts and pieces, all of the people that are involved, and all the processes that are involved. In that way, we can describe to the vendors the real interoperability issue between different products and the market value of overcoming that problem.
In this case, the Open Group's members started a forum to identify problems within the industry and then worked on formulating solutions. These solutions not only meet buyer needs but also allow vendors to implement them in their products. Building buyer confidence is the key to wide acceptance and deployment of open standard-based products. Certification programs with appropriate and relevant testing to support them have proven to be effective tools in achieving buyer confidence. Open Group has delivered such programs in its role as the global certification authority for the Wireless Application Protocol, or WAP, as well as for the Unix system.
From the WAP forum standpoint, what's involved in the certification process is, in cooperation with the Open Group, creating a set of test assertions, which basically is a hypothetical step-by-step of what happens when something goes through a test. Once we do that, the Open Group actually creates the test, and then we put the products through each one of those tests, which leads to certification.
By ensuring interoperability, the Open Group's members can, in fact, help an entire industry reevaluate the way they do business, and in the process, stack the odds in favor of success.
The ability to control, measure, and manage the infrastructure of the Internet is increasingly important to both companies and consumers. It's called quality of service and helps control how well you do what you want to do when you're surfing the web.
As our business world and the systems we need to support it get more complex, more demanding, and more productive, it's crucial for systems to interoperate, and not just with your own organization.
Partnerships between those who make the technology and those who use it are essential to learn the best way to move state-of-the-art to the next level.
Today, partners come from non-traditional, even unexpected quarters. In some sectors, such as web applications, even competitors have to cooperate. But partnerships can only be forged in an atmosphere of impartiality and trust. The Open Group has a number of forums that provide this essential ingredient. Every organization that sells or uses information system products should be a member. Typically, a company comes to the Open Group because in their own best interest, they want information, influence, and involvement, especially when they're planning a venture into a new area that's beyond their experience or expertise.
The Open Group made a difference because interoperability is very important to us. We integrate technology on the fly for a joint task force, and the only way that we figured a team with industry was through a forum like the Open Group, and they do it very effectively. The benefit of our association with the Open Group is that we get interoperable products that are cost-effective out of the box, so we get better product that we can integrate easily to provide capability to our warfighters.
Once an organization decides to become a member, they begin to benefit immediately. Most of them choose to participate in one or more of specific forums. Often they join groups dedicated to resolving issues in critical areas such as security, enterprise management, and quality of service. The forum meet is often needed to address a given topic, but usually it's at least once each quarter. It all happens in conjunction with their specific Open Group conference, where experiences from different groups can be shared and the experts can be consulted. In today's global economy, a serious interoperability problem can be enough to cripple a company for hours, days, or even forever, while costing big money. In contrast, organizations with members in the Open Group are able to address these problems early and effectively. We've heard a lot about the Open Group's efforts to make interoperability a reality in today's business world by bringing together vendors and buyers to focus on specific problems. We've heard how certification programs can help and how the right testing tools can make the difference in buyer confidence. However, this can only happen if organizations learn to make systems work within their business and if they associate with and learn from the experts.
Perhaps the last word will come from those who write the history books and evaluate how well our generation was able to coordinate technology here at the dawn of the 21st century. Reporting for .com, I'm Corey James.